Welcome back to The Eagle's Nest, the audio retelling of Charlie Supersinski's great book, Soaring with the Eagles, the Copper Peak Story. And we are in episode 27, back in 1988, talking about the final years, perhaps, of the Wolverine ski jump. In 1988, the younger skiers were becoming of age. With the retirement of John Coos from active ski jumping, the Wolverine Club was pinning their hopes on the junior program and the development of young ski jumpers. John Coos, Rich Aho, and Arnie Hopia became certified ski jumping instructors and led the development program. Wolverine junior jumpers started the season with a strong performance at Ishpeming on Sunday, January 3rd of 1988. Max Doman won top honors and Robert Riggs placed third in Class 2 on the 50-meter hill. On the 30-meter hill, Tom DiNicenzo, Brad Clemens, and Dory Aho placed respectively first, fourth, and fifth. On the 20-meter hill, Philip Glotchik placed first in Class 4, while Steve Aho earned second in the open class. 2 weeks later in Madison, Doman and Riggs would win the top 2 spots in Class 2 under rainy conditions. At Duluth's Chester Bowl that same weekend, Class 3 jumpers Tom DiNicenzo and Brad Clemens would place second and seventh, respectively, while Philip Glotchik and Gabe Lagallo were earning third and fourth in Class 4. Robert Ranta would place fifth in Class 5. At Chicago Norge, or Norgie as some people pronounce it, on January 23rd of 88, Max Doman and Robert Riggs continued their strong performances with fourth and sixth place finishes. Their younger teammates Tom DiNicenzo and Brad Clemens placed third and 10th in St. Paul that same weekend. The USSA Central Division Junior Olympic tryouts were scheduled for Coleraine, Minnesota, the weekend of February 6th and 7th. Both Doman and Riggs would qualify for the 12-member Central Class 2 team to compete at the National Junior Olympics at Lake Placid, February 29th through March 7th of 1988. 40 skiers participated at Coleraine, with Riggs having the longest jump of the day of 143 feet on Saturday. In an invitational meet separate from the Olympic tryouts, Class 1 skier Bart Somerville placed third on Saturday and fourth on Sunday. His teammate Jamie Gila placed fourth on Saturday and fifth on Sunday. While cousins Max Doman and Robert Riggs were traveling to the U.S. Junior Olympic tryouts in Lake Placid, New York, Wolverine junior skiers were having a good day jumping on the 20-meter hill at Ishpeming on February 28th of 1988. Dory Aho would win first in Class 2. Brad Clemens and Steve Aho would place fourth and sixth in Class 3. Gabe Lagallo and Philip Glotchik would capture first and second in Class 4, and Dan Ranta and Mike Hellerstedt would place second and fifth on the 10-meter hill in Class 5, and that's ages 9 and under. Here's what the Daily Globe on Wednesday, March 9th of 88 stated about the National Junior Olympic tryouts. The headline read, "Area ski jumpers impress at Lake Placid." In their first appearance in national competition, Max Doman and Robert Riggs, a pair of Junior 2, age 14 to 15 ski jumpers, placed in the top 10 in 4 events. As members of the USSA Central Division aggregation, Doman, Riggs, and Nat O'Gorman of Coleraine participated in the 3-man team competition Tuesday and took second place and won silver medals. The Rocky Mountain Division trio took first place. On Thursday, a junior Class 2 special jumping contest was held on the 40-meter hill with 46 skiers competing. Doman placed 8th, while Riggs took the 10th spot. In Junior Class 2 elimination event on the 40-meter slide staged Friday, Doman clinched 6th place and Riggs chalked up a pair of 42-meter jumps to nail down the 7th spot. A 70-meter Olympic slide competition was held on Saturday. Doman grabbed 2nd place while Riggs earned 3rd. On the basis of their Saturday performance on the 70-meter slide, Riggs and Doman were invited to participate in the Empire State Games, a separate event from the U.S. Nationals. In Class 2, Doman won first-place honors, followed by Riggs in second. How about that? And boy, is that really something. The USSACD, meaning Central Division Olympic Team manager-coach, Ray Cottrell and Sig Malvik, another coach, accompanied the junior team to Lake Placid. Both lauded the performances of Doman and Riggs at the national championships. They were well pleased and predicted bright futures in ski jumping for the Ironwood pair. And here's a weather note for 1988. For the second consecutive year, the Wolverine annual tournament scheduled for March 13th of 1988 would be canceled because of bad weather. A major winter storm, punctuated with thunder and lightning, would drop nearly 20 inches of snow on the weekend of the meet, making it impossible for skiers and spectators to get to the hill. So that brings us to 1989, a very busy season for Wolverine jumpers. The Wolverine Club would host the USSA Central Division Junior Olympic Tryouts Class 1 and 2 on the weekend of February 4th and 5th. That event would be combined with the Central Division Junior Championship on Sunday, February 5th. Many Wolverine Club officials and members would assist Copper Peak officials in sponsoring the flying meet. The club would also sponsor late-season junior and senior tournaments at Wolverine on March 11th and 12th of 1989. To start the 1989 season, Wolverine jumpers would place in the top 6 at Duluth's Chester Bowl on Sunday, New Year's Day of 1989. Philip Glotchik would place 6th in Class 4, as Dan Ranta and Mike Hellerstedt were placing respectively 3rd and 6th in Class 5. The Wolverine Club would send skiers to 2 competitions. On Sunday, January 15th of 89, the top 2 Wolverine jumpers in the junior class, that being Robert Riggs and Max Doman, would earn the 8th and 9th spot at the 84th Annual Norge Central Division Championship held in the Fox River Grove. The younger club members would compete at Ishpeming in 4 classes. Steve Aho and Gabe Lagala would place 4th and 5th in Class 3 on the 30-meter hill. Philip Glotchik would win top honors in Class 4 on the 20-meter hill. In the 10-meter hill, Dan Ranta, Frank Leone, Adam Surrey, and Aaron Ranta would place 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively, in Class 5. Mike Hellerstedt would place 1st in Class 6. It was a good day for the young competitors of Wolverine. The USSA Central Division Junior Olympic Tryouts were held at Wolverine the weekend of February 4th and 5th of 89. In Class 1, ages 16 to 18, Max Doman placed 6th as teammate Robert Riggs took top honors in Class 2, which was ages 14 and 15. Both would qualify for the 10-member Central Division teams to compete in the National Junior Olympics in Ely, Minnesota, scheduled for the first week in March. The last event of the 89 season was an invitational meet at Thunder Bay's Olympic Training Center on Sunday, March 19th. Class 5 juniors Mike Hellerstedt, Dan Ranta, and Matt Haru would place 2nd, 5th, and 6th. In 1990, Riggs and Doman are going to the Junior Nationals for the 4th consecutive year. Can you imagine this? Highlighting the year's performances were the 2 young Wolverine skiers, Max Doman and Robert Riggs, who were able to qualify for the National Junior Olympics scheduled for Steamboat Springs on March 4th through the 8th. Their strong performances throughout the year would enable them to qualify for the 4th year in a row. Congratulations to those fine young men. The season would start at Ishpeming on January 20th, 1990. On the 50-meter hill, Max Doman would place second and Robert Riggs third. On the 20-meter hill, Class 4 skiers Dan Ranta, Keith Miller, Matt Haryu, and Jesse Sahowski would place respectively 3rd, 7th, 11th, and 12th. On the 10-meter hill in Class 5, it was Mike Hellerstedt first, Paul Klamela 6th, and Dan Hellerstedt 9th. At Ishpeming Suicide Hill on Sunday, February 25th of 1990, Junior Class 1 skiers Max Doman and Robert Riggs would earn berths on the Central Division Junior Olympic team. 2 rounds of 3 jumps, with the best 2 of 3 counting towards point totals. In the first round, Riggs placed third on the 70-meter slide as Doman would place in the top 10. In the second round, Riggs would place second and Doman would place sixth. 10 juniors from Central would participate in the Nationals at Steamboat Springs the week of March 4th. Ironwood skiers did perform well at the Nationals in Steamboat Springs the week of March 4th through the 8th, placing in the top 10 in 3 events. On the 70-meter hill, the 3-member Central team, consisting of Max Doman, Robert Riggs, and Cynthia Kelmanson of Minneapolis, placed 7th in the distance-only competition on the 50-meter hill. Max Doman would place 7th in the field of 26 skiers, and on the 50-meter individual jumping competition, Robert Riggs would place 6th and Max Doman would place 9th. 29 skiers would participate in the later event. Carla Keck of Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, was the second female to challenge Wolverine Hill, winning top honors in the junior class at the Wolverine Invitational meet held on the weekend of February 8th and 9th, 1992. Earlier on the 70-meter hill in Coleraine, competing in Class 2, which is age 14 and 15, she would win top honors. This was the beginning of her long, successful career as a ski jumper. As a young competitor, Carla was challenging the best in her class. She would train in Europe and eventually become one of the top world-class female competitors. Elected to the National Ski Hall of Fame in 2009, she would lead the charge to have women's ski jumping a part of the 2014 Olympics. And so that brings us to 1993, where finding young skiers was becoming a challenge. And really, when you think about it, it was almost inevitable. The ranks of the Wolverine Club were slowly diminishing, a perennial problem as the vast majority of young people are forced to leave the area to seek employment or attend school. Records only show local ski jumpers participating in a few events during the 92-93 season. Efforts continued to upgrade the Wolverine facilities with improvements made to the stairs accessing the upper 20, 35, and 50-meter hills, reprofiling the landing slope of the 50-meter hill, and brushing of the cross-country trails. The Wolverine Club was also able to purchase a 1980 Bambi Bombardier Snowcat-type grooming machine with a new blade and rear hydraulics. It would be used to maintain the 10 kilometers of cross-country trails and to maintain the landing area of the ski jumps. The club was also able to purchase a 14 by 68-foot mobile home trailer to be used for concessions, tournament computations, and a timing room for cross-country races. That brings us to 1995, and you'd have to call it the end of an era. On Saturday, January 28th, the Wolverine Club would sponsor a USSA Central Division Class II Junior Olympic tryouts and the 41st Wolverine Invitational Meet, the McDonald's Classic. Scheduling conflicts and a lack of snow on some areas in the Midwest played a role in scheduling the event in Ironwood. Some 70 jumpers representing both junior and senior classes would participate in the event. Casey Colby, a U.S. Olympic student at Northern Michigan University, would win top honors. His leap of 223 feet would tie the existing record set by Steve Seidow of Duluth in 1983. In other classes, Ironwood skiers would have modest success. In Junior Class 1, on the 50-meter hill, Jesse Chahowski would place 11th. In the 35-meter open class, Mike Hellerstedt would place first. And on the 10-meter hill, Wes Fitzgerald would place second, with Chris Ranta third. The 1995 competitions on slides at Wolverine would bring to a close a 20-year successful run of area ski jumping since the 50-meter hill was built in 1975. The hill would prove to be one of the most successful facilities for training young ski jumpers in the country. One young skier from Austria, here for a ski flying competition at Copper Peak, was having concerns about riding the big hill for the first time. He had this to say about Wolverine after taking several practice rounds. "I never jumped on a 50-meter hill before with this much air. Wolverine Hill, with the consistent updraft of air from the northwest, always rode like a larger hill." The legacy of ski jumping left by the founding fathers of the Gogebic Range Ski Club and, more recently, the hard-working board of directors of the Wolverine Nordic Ski Club is exemplary. These volunteers gave unselfishly of their time and effort to the benefit of the community and the legions of youngsters who availed themselves to the sport of ski jumping and cross-country skiing. Changing times and attitudes throughout the country led to the dissolution of a number of ski jumping programs. This included some long-time strongholds of ski jumping, such as Duluth, Ely, Thunder Bay, and any number of programs out east and west. Today, in the Central Division, only 10 clubs are active. Chicago Norwich in Illinois, Wisconsin Rapids, Iola, Wisconsin, Eau Claire, Madison and Westby in Wisconsin, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Coleraine in Minnesota, and Ishpeming and Iron Mountain in Michigan. Things have changed since the heyday years when ski jumping was the king in winter sports in the 1930s, when there were some 60 clubs sponsoring ski jumping programs. And with that, my friends, we're out of time for this episode of The Eagle's Nest. This is your narrator, Dan McMahon, inviting you to join us again for the next episode of The Eagle's Nest. There are several ways to see and hear us. If you have a smart TV or a smartphone or tablet, you can download the YouTube app and use the 4 search terms Copper Peak Eagle's Nest. Our Copper Peak episodes are there all the time, and the episodes are labeled consecutively and will run sequentially. In other words, when you finish one episode, the next episode will play. Also, you can see and hear episodes on your phone or browser at the following URL: www.youtube.com/@CopperPeak784. All the episodes are labeled. Don't forget to like and subscribe us. It's free, and it won't cost you anything, and it helps us. And as you may know, Copper Peak has a live streaming site with live webcams at our Copper Peak Hill site that you can access by going directly to the live cam at www.twitch.tv/copper_peak. Eagle's Nest episodes play on or near the half hour. The live cam features views of the Copper Peak facility as well as a view of the surrounding terrain and Lake Superior from atop the Copper Peak Tower, plus news and homemade entertainment and historical narratives by Charlie Supersinski, the author of Soaring with the Eagles, the Copper Peak story on which this narrative is based. We're also on Copper Peak Radio on 102.1 FM at 6:08 a.m. and p.m. and 11:08 a.m. and p.m. Central Time. Copper Peak Radio is a low-power FM station, so you need to be within a few miles from Copper Peak to hear it. Charlie's book is available at the Depot Historical Society Museum and Chamber of Commerce office in Ironwood, and also at the Downtown Art Place in Ironwood. Once again, thanks for joining us here at the Eagle's Nest. See you the next time, and think Copper Peak. Bye now.